Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another week. See what's happening today. Start at the top. Actually, let's start on US30 real fast. We're gonna minimize this. Okay. US30. It's coming to this weekly candle. So we're starting to make a little push down. Yesterday we talked about rejecting this area up here. So potential to see some downside on the indices today. Looking at the hourly, we had this daily candle right here close bearish yesterday. It was a holiday, but it did close bearish, kind of rejecting within this zone right there. And we also put in a high right here, which respected this high on this candle, and we started to make that push down. So looking like we could be bearish today. Let's mark this low on the 4 hour. There's pretty much clear movement down to there. Probably forming some kind of support here on the 5 minute. Drop down, continue to drop down. Let's get rid of some of this. What up, baby? Okay, so now we got our low right there. And above, anything above here, so really only looking for sells here. Drop down to 5 minute. Yeah, so looking at this, we have clean move below here, so let's go ahead and sells below 34,148. To the upside, it's tricky. I think we could probably mark these highs right there and use that as a high, but we're pretty bullish on, or bearish on the daily candle, the current daily candle. So I would imagine we're gonna break it a little low with the volume today. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's go through all our pairs. All right, GBPJPY, it's clear here. We're gonna first mark this big rejection wick right here. Looks like we're gonna probably test that eventually on this week's candle. We're starting with a push up, which means later on in the week we're probably gonna see it tap into here. We're creating this high up here. As long as this high does not come up and break up here, then we're just creating this high up here. The candle will flip once we start breaking these lows down here. We're gonna test somewhere within this wick right here to fill. After this, if this low is broken, then you got to go even further. You don't have anything until 137.105. So if we're probably gonna retest this wick this week, and then even potentially next week, we either start seeing retracement back up, or if we break this low, we continue back down to the downside to around 140-ish. Looking at the daily. Daily is looking like we're gonna retrace a little bit. So that could be what I'm talking about with the weekly candle. Will push up a little bit for today, maybe even tomorrow. Then Thursday, Friday, it starts to shift and flip to the downside. So for now, we're kind of within this little range in here. Actually, it's not a little range, this big daily range. It's kind of moving sideways, waiting for a breakout there. The 4 hour, we're starting to steady climb up. We need this low to break in order to make our next move down. So we're just in this consolidation area right now, moving sideways. Once this low's broken, then we can continue to push down. EURUSD, clear. Been incredibly bullish the last like 6 months, 4 months. Last week's candle pushed straight up. This week's candle put in a low. I'm not sure if that's going to be the final low of this week's candle because it's not much of a push down, but we did put in a low, and then we started pushing up to break the high. So it's hard to say anything other than sells, or sorry, anything other than buys, because it's literally been non-stop buying pressure. So be careful on any sells. One thing you do need to watch out for though, on the daily, we're within this zone right here, so we could start seeing rejections. The last 2 days have rejected in there, so we kind of created this on the lower time frames. Now we are within this channel. Now break of this high, you could take buys, but when this high is broken here, you gotta remember that we are within this rejection zone on the daily, so it could come up and turn around here, it could turn around halfway, it could go all the way through it. You really don't know. So if you are planning to take buys on US or EURUSD, make sure you're quick with your taking profits on there. GBPUSD, weekly candle, similar to EURUSD. We made our bottom wick down, we're starting to push up. We're gonna go ahead and mark this high. It is rejecting off this area, which you might see potential turnaround. Looking at the daily, we kind of had a break of structure in the last couple weeks. We put in this little trend to the upside, and then we finally broke structure there and there. So now we are retracing into these fib levels where we could see it turn around. Especially we were rejected pretty hard yesterday off this level. Kind of surprised we're pushing back on there after this kind of daily candle there, but if we respect this high right here and we flip today, expect heavy bearish pressure to the downside on GU. Gold. Gold put in the bottom wick already on this candle. We need to mark these highs here. Mark those highs. Now we are probably gonna flip this candle eventually during the week. Yesterday put in a bearish candle. Today's another bearish candle, but it's starting to turn around already. So if we put in this low here and then we break this high now today, expect heavy bullish pressure to the upside. And again, same with EU. It's hard to do anything other than buy this pair, because if you just go to the 4 hour, you can see it's done nothing but go upwards. It's definitely in need of some kind of retracement. It's in this channel here. It might make one more move, test here, and then break out. But I would recommend not selling gold right now with the way that its structure is set up. All right, let's hop down to the DXY real fast. Okay, DXY. Last week we called 101.6 getting hit. Could we get that today? Definitely, probably not today, but sometime within this week, definitely possible to hit that within this week. Looking at our weekly candle, last week straight bearish pressure, push down. This week we actually made a top wick up. Now we're flipping back down to the bearish side. Hourly, break of this low down here. Or sorry, this is the daily candle. We put in this high on the daily. Now we're starting to push down. So if we break the low on this previous daily candle, 101.6 or 101.5 is definitely gonna get hit. So keep an eye there. If we drop down to like the 1 hour, so now kind of what we're looking for is a break of structure, because we're making lower lows and lower highs, but yesterday's daily candle put in a high and respected the low. So now we need to respect these highs up here, break this low kind of as like a break of structure, and we'll continue to the downside. DXY could drop down today. We kind of need it to go up, but if we're gonna play bearish on the US30, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's look at a couple stocks real fast. Apple. Apple's weekly candle pushing up pretty strong. So we already put in a low here. Now we're breaking up. Daily candle breaking this high here. We got to be careful of this rejection up inside of here. So we could see it move up to 135.9 today. After that level though, we have a lot of clear space until about 150. So Apple should be pretty bullish for the next couple weeks. Looking at Tesla. Tesla has just been melting since September. So it's definitely due for some retracement. We are at a rejection level within here. So we had last week's weekly candle kind of close as a bearish rejection candle. So this could be the time we start to see Tesla kind of flip around, start retracing. The weekly candle put in the low here, and we broke the highs up there. It's dropped down to the daily. now we are within this consolidation zone right here. High, low. Delete this real fast. So we're in this consolidation area where we are going to wait for a break at the high, and once that high is broken, expect to continue up here. This is a good kind of swing trade if you're looking to take kind of entry style on stocks. Once you could even wait for a close because you're playing a higher time frame, so you could wait for a push up and wait for the candle to close today. Once that candle closes, take an entry up here with your stop below this candle, and then you can wait for a move somewhere within here to take some profits. So alrighty, let's drop back to US30 real fast. Go to 5 minute. Oops. Yeah, so this is kind of our zones. I'm gonna put buys above here, but I probably will not be executing on buys above here. This kind of just give you guys an idea of what you could potentially take. I don't necessarily love the idea of buys up here because after we break this high, it's clean for a little bit, but not very far. I mean, you got 23 points till you meet this traffic in this range, and we don't want to see this kind of movement. When we're looking left, we want to see straight down. Kind of like how we do on the sell side. If we look at these lows, once after this low is broken, we look to the left, and what candles do we see here after this? Nothing. We see nothing but good clean movement to the downside till at least somewhere within this area. So sells would be ideal, especially looking at the daily time frame where we're rejecting right here on this daily zone. We'll keep an eye there. Looks like we got about 14 minutes till the open. Look at Bitcoin for the breakout to the upside. How would you play it? Oops. Yeah. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin pushing up, weekly candles, all respecting the lows. 4 hour, yeah, 4 hours, so low here. We got high here. So now, break of this high up there should continue to take us up into this zone, but we could reject this area in there. So gotta be careful with buys. But a break of those highs. So the only thing that has to happen though, we can't break these highs from down here. We need this push up, we need rejection, we need a little bit of consolidation here, and then take that. We can't take buys from a push from down here. That's kind of how I would take buys there. Yeah, we got to put in a couple kind of sideways candles like we're doing right here. If that makes sense. Back to here. I want to watch this right here. I wonder if we might be able to execute on buys above this level, because looking at structure, this would break structure essentially here. So if we break this high at the opening bell, then I expect us to keep pushing up to test these highs up here at least. So we could get an entry here. We're gonna have to watch as we get closer to see what we're gonna do. If we start pushing down here, that'll be perfect because we want to take buys at the break of these lows down there. So what we're kind of waiting for there. Let's look at NASDAQ real fast. See if it looks any better. Nasdaq's weekly candle's pretty small. We had that holiday yesterday, so not much movement on that first daily candle. So we made a low and we made a high, so there's really not much to look at here. Yesterday's daily candle closed bearish, so today's candle, we are respecting the low and we're respecting the high. We're kind of within the range of yesterday's daily candle. So now we need to wait to see which we break first. Whichever side we break first is most likely the direction we're going to head for the day. So we're going to mark the high and the low of this yesterday's daily candle. Drop to the 4 hour, you can see the consolidation. 1 hour, you can see it even better. Kind of within this flag in here. If you guys play those kind of patterns, you can see we're in a flaggish kind of pattern. So now expecting a strong breakout to the upside if we broke there, and then this is yesterday's low. So if that low is broken, then we can see another daily candle push to the downside. So something you just kind of have to wait for. We don't have any clear direction there, except for the idea that we've been bullish for the last 2 weeks. So we could continue to see that pressure. Let's drop down a little bit. Yeah, 5 minutes pretty ugly on Nasdaq because we're just within this consolidation zone. So SPX putting in some nice bear structure on the weekly. So we could just start seeing another leg down. Looking at this week's candle. Let's delete these real fast. This week's candle, last week's candle closed very bullish, but again we're coming up on this zone of rejection up there. We put in a low and a high already. Look at the daily candle. This is the same situation as on Nasdaq. We got a low and a high on the previous candle. So we're kind of within that candle's range. Now we gotta wait for it to show us its direction. So break at the low, break at the high, push up into this rejection zone in there, or break at the low, push down to these levels down in here. Yeah. Hop back to US30. Anybody have any other pairs they want me to look at? Okay, we had that strong 5-minute rejection candle here. See if we get another push down. PPUCHF. Alright. Are you in buys or sells or anything in this AV? UCHF's coming up on this very ugly level. We're kind of, if you look in the past, you've struggled to break out of this zone. Kind of formed a consolidation for what? Like a whole year basically. Yeah, more than a year. It kind of sat in there. So now we're within this zone. Extend that over there. Working at the current weekly candle. Very ugly AB fibs that you're in. Okay. So looking at the weekly candles, looking like we're gonna continue pushing down here to break this low. This pair is very ugly. Looking at the past, we were in this for over a year. We finally broke out, and then we just consolidated for another year, kind of in this zone. And now we push back, and we're back within this zone. So kind of expecting something like that, and that's what you get when you come back into a zone that historically has done this. Now we're starting to push down. Maybe we can break the low. Our low's down there. We're putting in bearish structure here. We broke these lows here. Oops. We broke those lows here. We made a low. We came up. We retraced. We put in a new lower high. We respected the highs here. Now we're pushing down. So if we break this low, continue pushing down somewhere within this level down in there. Curious what you're in. Are you in buys? Did you take like this kind of fib here? Something like that. But yeah, I'm expecting that to keep dying. Yeah, figured that. Okay. Okay, looking at this now. We've got 6 minutes until New York opening bell. We're starting to push up. We rejected there. Okay, so now we kind of have this area right here. So a risky play would be to play the breakout here and take buys up, and take the breakout here and take sells down, because we're expecting with volume to be able to break these lows with volume and momentum. We can put this back on. We're getting closer to our time. Let's take a look at the DXY. If DXY is going to continue tanking, which it looks like it's doing, drop down to the 1 minute, it's just melting down, then we can definitely take buys with confidence here. This looks like it's starting to break up right here. I'm not going to take this yet because we just had this 5 minute candle open. So this could just be a fake out here. So we're just going to watch it for a little bit. We've got 4 minutes until the New York opening bell. So looks like Peyton. Looks like there's some divergence on the DXY, so we could see this rebound and head to the upside soon. I just don't know if that's going to be today. So probably see it continue dropping a little bit today. Especially if we break this low right now. US30 is making a push up. You probably would have been safe to take this entry on the break of that high, stop below there, and you're almost on your way to the first take profit, but we didn't enter this, so just gonna have to wait, and hopefully it gives us a continuation move, because at this point, with how far away we are from here, we're not gonna be able to take sells at the opening bell, because we would have to make this big move down. Once you get down here, your move's pretty exhausted. So looks like if you would have taken buys on the break of the high, you for sure would have been able to hit your first take profit up in there. Yeah. 2 minutes till the open, still pushing up strong. Now the question we need to ask is if the candle closes somewhere right here, and assuming the next candle makes a low, if that candle starts to flip bullish, do we want to take buys? And I think we probably would if we put in a low first. If we just open up, if the candle closes somewhere right here and the next candle like gaps up, opens and pushes up, I'm probably not going to take that. That thing going to keep going in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Except for on the hourly, we are in here. So if we do reject, it's going to be in there. But break those highs, we should continue to the upside. So keep an eye on this 5 minute candle. Look at all the other pairs. SPX pushing up as well. NASDAQ. breaking out of that kind of funnel. So we'll see if we come and test this high. The XY still tanking. So yeah, this US30 should continue pushing up. After this level, we've got kind of ugly traffic, but we'll have to see what kind of setup it gives us. Okay, 30 seconds left. We really need it to come up a little higher, because if not, our stop loss is going to be like clear down here. Our entry will still have to be up here. It'll have to be up high, but our stop loss is going to be clear down here if we don't push up. So we'll see. Looks like the move might have just came early today, like 2 minutes early. It was about 9:28 is where we started to make our push up. So here's our candle. We're pushing straight up, so I'm not going to be taking this, but if it breaks the high, you could definitely risk 0.5%, put it below there, and continue the upside, hopefully. But I'm not taking anything on this right now, so we'll just kind of watch it, see what happens. There was a lot of volume in that previous candle, this one that pushed the upside. I wonder, we did not look at the news this week. Let's pull that up real fast. That's breaking that high, but like I said, you got to be careful, because we already made this big push up. So a lot of times what you see around the open is it pushes one way, and then it retraces back the other way, and then it decides what it wants to do. It either wanted to come up and get these same prices that London had, and then it wants to continue the downside, or it wants to push up, retrace back in to get in some of those, or to get out of some of those positions, and then push back up, or sorry, load up more positions to the downside. Looking at the news, this week we've got jobless claims. So we've got a couple high impact news, but nothing like FOMC, nothing like that. So pretty good week. Looks like we're rejecting that high like I thought we would. DXY kind of slowing down. It's dropped to the 1 minute. Let's see if we start seeing any kind of 1 minute structure change. So we're putting in this structure here. Break it here. Could give us a new leg to the upside, and where we could see US30 start to flip around. I think it was like around December 28th, 29th, or something like that. We had candles like this, and I kind of went over what to do when you have candles that are going both directions. So if I remember right, NASDAQ and SPX were pushing up while US30 was just throwing wicks in both directions. So then it kind of created its own zone, or its own range here. It waited about an hour after the open, and then it started to make its push up. So kind of interesting to watch there. This 5 minute candle is closing in 2 minutes. So far we're looking like we're rejecting hard there. So okay. NASDAQ's still pushing up, and SPX still pushing up. So if these continue to push up for a little bit, I'm expecting US30 to eventually follow. It might take another half hour or so, but it should continue following eventually. And now we're starting to flip bearish candle. I'd be interested to see if we do come down and break this low, if we start to see this daily candle continue to the downside. After that low's broken, probabilities are pretty high that we're going to come down. We have this big wick right there. We can start to fill that. So DXY, still nothing yet. Actually, we pushed up a little bit. We'll see if we break structure here and start to put in some more bullish structure to the upside. But US30 5-minute. Look at this candle. This is not something you want to be a part of. So stay safe for now. You got very large range of high and low here. Let's measure this candle real fast. Yep. So like 75 point candle is about the average on the opening 5-minute candle. So looks like we put in a high up here. Now we put in a low. We'll probably come up and fill these wicks a little bit if we are going to continue the downside first. But when you have price action like this, you really don't know what's going to happen. It just drop from here. So we're just going to watch a couple more. Then we'll call it a day. NASDAQ still pushing up. Both NASDAQ and SPX had a similar candle closure on the 5-minute. But US30 never broke out of this range like those other two did. So keep an eye. All right, US30 is dropping out, but you could have taken a trade below here, probably would have played out. Your stop would have been pretty big though, so it would have been hard to play that for sure. Now we're pushing down, but next problem we're going to reach is once we do break this low, look at how big our stop loss is. It's clear up there. So there's nothing to take there. You could drop down to a 2-minute time frame. This is high risk, but if you wanted to, you could take a short here once that low gets broken with this. The only problem is we've made this strong push down and we could be exhausted by the time we break it there, so it could just be a fake out here. So what we need is kind of a turnaround right here for a second, just a second to breathe. Then when we break the lows, you're looking better for sell side. So drop back the 5-minute there. Let's hop around to gold real fast. Gold. Kind of just chilling. It might make a push to the downside on gold. You can see we respected the high here, we respected the high here, we respected the high here. Now this candle's starting to flip bearish and we're breaking the low there. So now expecting a push somewhere within this zone to the downside. On the 1-minute, you can see kind of clear break of structure here. I think Biddy did the same thing. So let's take a look at Bitcoin real fast. Yeah, that's kind of what I talked about with Bitcoin earlier today. You can't take the buy if you are coming from low. You need to chill out for a second, and it definitely broke this high, took all the liquidity that was sitting up in here, and now we're breaking structure. Broke structure there, broke structure there. Need to break a structure there to really confirm that, but could see Bitcoin continue dropping for a little bit for sure. US30 pushing down, 2-minute candles pushing to come break this. So this is a high risk play. If you guys wanted to absolutely make a play today, this is not something I'm gonna trade, but just kind of giving you an option if you wanted to. So break at this low, this candle high, you gotta wait for the low to break. But okay, so now you'd be in the trade, pretty risky right there, and you're almost already to 1-to-1 if you were able to get in on time. 1-to-1's right there. TP1. Pretty close to it, but it could just reject right here. We need to see this 2-minute candle close below this area down in there. Okay, there's your take profit 1. So if you were in this, take off 70%. Definitely put your stop loss to break even, because this is a high risk play. So stop loss to break even, you're probably going to get hit right here, but at least you're able to secure some quick profits to the downside when it's nice to make some profits, especially when you have moves like this from the start. Take what it gives you, call it a day, hopefully come back tomorrow for some better clean moves, but this would have been a clean trade for sure. We're probably going to keep going to the downside. Now looking at the daily candle, we broke that previous daily low and this current candle's low. 4 hour, where are we going to turn around? You know, I expect to probably visit 34,070 at least. So we'll see if we come down somewhere within here. We'll call this our, move this, yeah. Final TP right down there. That candle closed bearish. Good strong reject, or a good strong close right there. So exactly what we want to see for a continuation to the downside. Now we just need it to respect the high that it's already put in and not come tap the entry up here. So as long as we do that and we're starting to break the low, we should see a continuation to the downside, and we want to see a candle close there. Next candle can make a high. We need to respect this high, and we'll just keep dropping. As long as we're respecting the highs there, we'll keep dropping. Looks like we're coming up along here, so this is going to be take profit 2 right here. Once this gets hit, take profit 2 gets hit, or if it does get hit, then we need to move our stop loss above this candle right here to put it in profit. That is assuming that this candle doesn't come up and tap the entry right now and get you a break even. Put in a low and a high. Let's drop down to the 1 minute. 1 minute candle's breaking the high of the previous candle, not what you want to see. Hopefully it's just a fake out and we're just going to reject there and flip. Up to 2 minute. Looking at the volume. So the most volume came on the candle after the open at 7:35. So that's kind of something I always look at and keep note of. This is about to hit the entry. It's close. Yeah. Okay. So take profit 1 was hit. Even if you didn't get this entry and you got even the late one, you're still going to be good. It dropped quite a bit below there. So call that a day there. If you took that, congrats, made some money on a day that the market looks like crap. DXY is consolidating now, so don't really have a for sure direction on this trade. If it's going to continue to the downside, DXY looks like it's chilling for a bit. 5 minute, we could see a push back up into these zones and then break down, or come back up and fill these wicks and retest this high. We really don't know today, especially with the way structure is playing out right now. It's kind of moving back and forth a lot. So when it looks like that, it's best to stay out of the market for sure. But looking at the daily or the weekly candle, it's looking like we're heading bearish for the week. We need this candle to close bearish today if we're going to continue to see drop for the week. So we don't want to see rejection here and a pushback above the high. If we're pushing bearish, we do not even want to come visit this high again up there. So, oh man, stopped you out, and then hopefully it doesn't push down. That would suck. It just take profit 1, move stop to break even, immediately get stopped out, and then it just dies. But sometimes that happens. You can't control that. That's why we take profit the way we do, because we secured profit, and then we got stopped out. So it's always good to secure profit when the market looks super when it's flying in both directions, because you really don't know what's going to happen. So 2-minute candles, we just closed very bearish with a rejection of this up there. Now we might put in a high up here, as long as we respect this previous 2-minute candle and we start to flip, break at this low, we'll continue to the downside. If you didn't put your stop break even, then you're crazy. Always put your stop break even. You don't want to don't risk losing money on a trade that was a winner. So kind of my 2 cents there. DXY still not moving. SPX and go to the 5-minute. SPX is rejecting to the downside now. Full said you're crazy. Yeah. So looks like US30 is the only indices that is dropping right now. Nasdaq's kind of pushing up. It kind of rejected the low. SPX also put in a nice rejection and made close bullish. Nasdaq closed bullish, and US30 closed as a doji. So careful. If you definitely would not recommend taking any other trades today. Come back tomorrow when the market might look a little better. Today was essentially a Monday because yesterday the market was closed, so first real day of the week. If you were trading the 15-minute, would you have sold that? No. I would not have. Because your stop loss would have been like massive. No, I wouldn't have sold that. The only way to play that would have been on the 2-minute time frame like we did. So, yeah, I would not have taken that. GJ still pushing up a little bit. GU and EU look pretty similar. Gold starting to break the lows. Kind of called this a little bit ago. Break that low, push down within the zone. Now we're in there consolidating a little bit. Let's go look at Apple. Apple made some nice rejections to the downside. Now it looks like we're starting to push out to break that high. I wonder if we're gonna flip bullish for the rest of the day. If the DXY looks like it's about to break this low, made this push down to the downside. Are we somewhere where we could turn around? No, not really. But I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. Oops. I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out for the rest of the day. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out for the day because I'm starting to reject down here. If we put in this low here, start breaking up, and we're gonna come up and we're gonna retest these highs up there. And if we break those highs, then I do think we're gonna probably head back up and retest this high up there eventually. So I'm watching for there. So today's trade basically looked like this. Nothing very crazy, but able to navigate these crazy markets and kind of find an opportunity to make at least a little bit of money there. So draw a 15-minute AB style fib on DXY. I don't know about that, Chief. Yeah, you're looking for it to turn around probably here. I don't know if that will, because literally didn't break structure here at all. Just rejected there. So you could see, I guess you could see it turn around here and move to the upside and there and then make move down, but I don't know. Hard to say this is gonna go bullish. Hard to say this is gonna go bullish when you scroll out and you look here. And you drop it to the daily and you look here. So yeah, 50-50 chance for sure. US30, go back. Drop to the 1 minute here. Now we can kind of get a clear consolidation area that we're in. And we're breaking out of that below here. So you could potentially take another entry there. Don't take any trades if you've already done one though. I wouldn't recommend trading today. So we're done for the day for sure. Now we're just kind of sitting within this zone though. So it's only 7:50 or 9:50 Eastern time. So there's still a lot of time for it to break out of here potentially and continue to the upside, or even break that and continue to our final take profit down. That 5 minute candle just closed very bullish. Let's mark this high here. Let's mark this low here. Drop down to the 1 minute, and you can see where we're at better. So now we are consolidating pretty heavily. So kind of watch there. Let's go. Let's jump back to, I want to see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin started to reject down here into these levels. Starting to turn around a little bit. We're putting in a little bit of structure now. Lows. This candle's put in a low. We'll see if it starts to flip to a bullish candle, break these highs, and continue pushing to the upside a little bit. Let's add Bitcoin here, just because I know people like to see Bitcoin. I don't ever trade Bitcoin, but we can add it to the list. EURUSD slowing down now, kind of consolidating there. Gold made that push back up. Now we're starting to reject there. Let's drop down on the 1 hour and see what that looks like. Let's clear all this. Looking at 1 hour structure, we were putting in this bullish structure here. Then we failed to break this high up there. Well, now we put in a low. So now we kind of have this bearish structure being put in here. If you take a fib of this high to the low, it's rejecting the 50% right now. So definitely could see it continue to the downside, or come back up and test some higher levels. But I kind of am expecting this to continue to the downside for a little bit. Looking at the 5 minute, it's still bullish. Oh, sorry, this is gold. Was I on Bitcoin before? Was I on? Oh, that was on gold. Yeah. So the 1 minute's broken structure, but if you go to the 5 minute, it has not broken any kind of structure yet. But it's also got a lot of inefficiency down inside here, so we could see this push up to 1915 area, and then another leg to the downside. Sure, that's a good possibility that we'll see a little bit of push up here. Looks like we're starting to push up right now. Let's see where we reject at, or if we don't reject and we start breaking these highs, then we're still within this rejection area, so it could turn around anywhere, but target's about 1920. There. Let's jump back to US30 for just a second. Still consolidating. NASDAQ and SPX are kind of pushing up a little bit. Yeah, we're just gonna watch this for a little bit. US or DXY still consolidating. Jump back to gold. I'm gonna be really curious to see if we turn around right up in here. If we start to reject in there, then definitely gonna continue to the downside, pushing up, or sorry, pushing down to the downside. One quick thing, I'm gonna put my Telegram link in the chat so you guys can join there. I just put all my announcements and education and trades and stuff in there in that chat. So I put when I'm going live. So join in there so you can get all my announcements and stuff. Okay, so Dow for the rest of the day, let's clear everything. Let's kind of look where we could go for the rest of the day. Looking at the daily candle. So now we have an idea of of where we went at the open. We can get an idea of where we're going to go for the rest of the day. So if you wanted to take trades later on, you can kind of use this as your overall direction. So let's mark the high and the low of this current candle here. So this high that was made during London session, actually that might have been made at the open. I'm not sure if that broke that at the open. Anyways, this high was made. So if we look back at yesterday's candle, we also put in a high and a low. So now today's candle, we put in a high and a low. So either we're gonna just see it sit within this candle, or it's gonna either break this low and continue up. What we need it to, or continue down. What we need it to do, if we're gonna see bearish pressure, we don't want it to see come up and test this at all. Because once it does that, it's gonna flip to a bullish candle, and if we're gonna see downside, you can't flip to that bullish candle. Looking at the 4 hour, I think that we're probably going to come and test. Sorry, we're gonna come fill this wick down here today, possibly. If not today, then tomorrow. Looking at the hourly candles, we've got a lot of momentum to the downside. This was the candle, 30-minute, that pushed up. Now we're breaking the low to the downside. So I'm expecting here, break at this low, you should continue to see a drop to the downside. This would be a valid trade that you could take as well right now. So I'm actually gonna, am I gonna take this? Yeah, no, I'm not going to. It's a little late, so I'm not going to take this. But you could see a potential to the drop from the downside from here now that we've broken out of there. 15-minute candle put in a high. Now we're breaking the low. So you definitely could take this sell to the downside for sure. It's a valid trade. Okay, so gold pushed exactly where we thought it would. Now it's interesting. So we'll see if we turn around here. Nasdaq, SPX pushing down as well. So yeah, if you would have entered, how big would your stop have been? Somewhere within there. About 54 points. So you would need to come in here, and it's risky because this is that big rejection candle, so you're kind of taking a trade into that. But looking at the higher time frames, I mean, there's nothing telling us that we want to turn around yet, so definitely valid sells. You've got 1 minute before the close. Ideally, you need to close below this orange line right here. Once you get that close, then you're definitely a lot safer and expecting a continuation push to the downside. The XY, we're still consolidating in there. Gold. Gold is making this kind of flag to the upside. So we reject up here, and then we break out of there. We had a nice strong move to the downside after that. So keep an eye there for just a little bit longer. US30 is pushing back up inside, so that's what you don't want to see here. You don't want to see these 1 minute candles coming up and closing there, especially with this 5 minute candle closing in 50 seconds. It still is definitely valid because your stop's pretty high up here, but you want this candle to close down underneath this range. You don't want it to reject there. And the reason that I didn't take this trade is because we're a little bit later in the session already. We already had a lot of our big volume come in, so that's why I didn't take this trade. So but still definitely play out though. Sorry, just 1 second. Gold. Okay. Starting to push down. So jump back here. Now we're consolidating on the 1 minute, breaking up a little bit. That 5 minute candle did close down there, so you got a good close. What we need this candle to do is respect the high though, and it looks like it's coming to test that high. So yeah, you had this breakout there, but like I said, looking at the volume, we're decreasing in volume with each candle here. We're a little bit after the open, so kind of past my trading time, so that's why you don't take anything really past 7:45. So gold. Okay, we called this too. Looking at the 5 minute, we came up in this area, we rejected there, and we broke out of this channel. So now we'll see if we continue down. Once this low's broken there, then to the downside we go. Continuation, looking at probably 1910, 1908 getting hit. Back fast to gold. Okay, US30 broke that structure. That was quite a fake out there. Now we're pushing up. A lot of times what you see happen, kind of another reason I didn't take this trade, is the 8 o'clock open candle generally likes to push the opposite direction that the first push made. It's kind of, I think I'm going to close UCF at break even and wait for better price action. I would close UCHF at break even and never touch that pair again. That's the ugliest price action pair I've ever seen. But yeah, what you see is when you at the open of 7:30 or to the 9:30 bell, you generally see a move in the direction for the first 20-30 minutes. At the 8 o'clock, you see a little bit more volume come in. It starts to die off the couple counts before 8 o'clock, but then at 8 o'clock you see a little bit more volume come in, and usually a retracement the opposite way that that first 30-minute move made, just kind of as a either retracement, or it comes up and breaks the high and continues to push the other direction. So looking at gold, go back to gold, we're testing the highs again. So at this point we have to respect these levels down here. We have to respect this high that this new candle just made in there. If not, then we're going to come back up and test these highs, and if those get broken, then bullish. We're going to head bullish. Yeah, I think that is gonna do it for today. Looking at, wow, Nasdaq is pushing up hard. SPX is pushing hard. What's the DXY doing? DXY also broke up. It's interesting. 5 minute. Yeah. Both these are pushing up now. US30 is just a lot lower than these two. It made that push down, so but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today. We called one winning trade, but I didn't take anything today, so no trades for me today. Come back tomorrow, hopefully get a little bit cleaner price action, hopefully get a cleaner move from the start, not a push up and then a push down. We'd like to see it start one direction and continue that direction. So XY popped off that zone. Yeah. Yep. It sure did. Now we've got highs. We got these lower highs put in. So either we're gonna put in a new lower high right there, or we start breaking these. As long as we reject, or as long as we respect these highs, though, we're gonna continue down. See, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Make sure we don't break that high. If we do, then we should push up for the day. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me today. So I will see you guys all back here tomorrow, and hopefully we get a trade tomorrow. So peace out, guys. Have a good day.